People get shot over this all the time in Mexico. Like, it's like the ultimate disrespect.
And I'm going to say it in Spanish so everybody understands. And you understood. Everybody understood.
So you're not going to say it in Spanish?
No.
So don't ever do that to a real Mexican from Mexico. Or don't ever do that in Mexico. Don't ever mix up this combination of words, mother and fuck. There is even signs for it. Like you go like this to someone, people can go fuck you, and there may not be a fight. But as soon as someone does this sign right here, you go like that, it basically means your mother. So
someone goes like,
that's like sign language for fuck your mother. Now, there's another way to say that, and that's by honking. If somebody honks 5 times, toot, 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 toot. So if you hear that in Mexico, toot, 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 it basically means because in Mexico, you can call someone a lot of things. Pendejo, asshole, idiot, whatever. But as soon as you call someone's mother out, like you cross the line. Because then even people who know they will get their asses kicked, they will fight. A lot of fights happen over this word. Like you can go back and forth with a person, but as soon as you use those words, which is chinga tu madre, which means fuck your mother. Yeah, even though motherfucker doesn't really mean that, you know, but to Canelo, he just hears mother and fuck, and that's like chinga tu madre. And when you say that to a Mexican, it's like you have to do something. Like at that point, you're being called out, basically. It's road rage incidents, people cursing at each other, you know, but basically a lot of times when people don't really want it to go to the next level, they just won't bring up mothers. But as soon as you bring up mother, that's like asking for it, you know, especially to a Mexican. Like we don't put up with that kind of shit, and it's like immediately it's like you guys seen what Canelo, it turns into a fight. So basically what happened is he called him a motherfucker, and then Canelo just immediately pushed him. After that, it turned into kind of like a slapping contest, in my opinion, because, you know, Plant basically slapped with left. Canelo moves back, and basically he backed up and he went boom, boom. I don't know if Canelo hooked him or boom, boom, or if he slapped him, but the last strike was like an open hand, open slap. It was boom, boom, or boom, boom. I'm not sure. I didn't catch the angle from the other camera. So from the other angle, I don't know if there is images from that, but that was pretty much it, you know. And I'm curious. He did have an open cut. I thought that was from a finger, though. It could be a finger, but I think that was probably a hook. But yeah, it was an interesting little stare down, and just keep that in mind with Mexicans. You know, we don't mess around most of the time. You know, it's like I asked a Spanish guy recently, a friend of mine here in Holland. We had a conversation about Spanish people versus Mexicans, and he said, you know, damn, like us in Spain, you know, like we'll fight, you know, but when we fight, we just have the mentality of we're just gonna fight and live to fight another day the next day. But when it's like with Mexicans, like when we fight to the death, you know. That's just how we think. Like we're pretty extreme, you know. So it's always a bad idea to to disrespect a real Mexican. You know, you might get away with it with Mexican Americans sometimes. You know, not always. You know, you got some Chicanos that are pretty hardcore, of course, but you can usually spot the type that are hardcore that won't put up with any shit. You can usually spot those guys in the states. And with Mexicans, it's just it doesn't matter what Mexican you're talking to. It doesn't matter if it's a fighter, if it's a cook, if it's a taxi driver. As soon as you say those words, chinga tu madre, like that's like, you know, that means you want to fight. So if you actually want to fight someone, use those words. If you actually want to piss a guy off and get him to come after you, like you actually want to fight him, you use that. It'll do the trick. You know, I'll get into a story now about my bouncer work in Leonardo's La Boom. I One of the times that I had a bouncer, we were basically kicking these two guys out. They were arguing with some other guys. Another pair of bouncers kicked out the other guys. Me and one bouncer were kicking out these two guys, but they were walking, they were listening, and they were paisas. They were like from Mexico, Mexico. They were not like Mexican Americans. They didn't speak any English, so they were basically only spoke Spanish. And the guard next to me, the bouncer, I'd never met him before. He like wanted them to like attack because he straight up knew this. You know, he started saying "chinga tu madre," "fuck your mama," "chinga tu madre," like straight up saying that to the guy's ear. And one of them was about to go. He's like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go off on him." He's like, and then his buddy told him like, "You can't beat these guys. Like, don't." You know, he's like, I don't care." You know, basically the same story situation. And I really felt bad at that moment. You know, I didn't agree with what the bouncer was doing, so what I did to keep them away is like I did a kick from far away because they started to walk towards us, back towards us. We were already outside, and I did like a kick, like a roundhouse kick hooking. I'm like, don't, you guys don't want none of this. You know, I took off the handcuffs. I'm like, don't, just go. But the bouncer kept talking shit. You know, trying to provoke. Some bouncers do that. I really hate it, guys. But you know, that's just the way it is. But it's just an example. You know, like you don't want to use that. It's dangerous, especially if you guys are vacationing over there. You know, be careful with the words you use. Like, it's not even smart to use that combination of words, even if you're talking to like a friend. Just don't use mother in general. You know, especially not with the F word after it. It's just not a good idea. And that said, as far as predictions, I honestly love Canelo's style, and because he like learned a lot from Mayweather, from losing to Mayweather, and I'm really expecting Canelo to win. I'm rooting for him, but I'm also expecting him to win. Of course, not because he's Mexican. I really like his new style. You know, I've always been a fan of Mayweather's style. It's the only boxer that I really study and follow. So, you know, he picked up a lot from Mayweather, and I really like his new style, you know, and it's not because he's Mexican, but right now he's my favorite boxer, and I'm expecting him to win this one, guys. I really am. And we'll see what happens, and
Chingas a tu madre. Sí, sí. ¡Viva México, cabrones! Big drama show.
we'll see what happens. And till the next video, catch you later.